There wasn't a single fly buzzing around. Strange, really. It should have been there. That's just the kind of room it was. Gray linoleum floors, walls patched with uneven plaster, tables and chairs with hollow metal legs. In places like this, there's always supposed to be that one fly, zipping up and down along the window frame in its endless, mindless rhythm. Up, down, up. But no, the room was silent. On the far wall hung boards meant for notes and updates, names, dates, places. Witnesses were listed on one, it was blank. Autopsy details were pinned to another, also blank. Both cases remained unsolved. 5 people sat in the North Yorkshire Police Headquarters briefing room, staring at those empty boards for what felt like an hour. The senior inspector had the unsettling feeling he'd spent half his life looking at one particular photo among them. A bright young face, ears sticking out slightly, a school tie neatly knotted, hair cropped short, and that expression, curious, open, trusting. David Angus. 8 months had passed since he disappeared from his own front gate at 10 minutes past 8 in the morning. 8 months, and still nothing. Simon found himself wishing for the hypnotic drone of a fly to break the tension instead of being fixated on the image of that little boy. The call from Superintendent Jim Chapman had come just days ago, interrupting a perfect Sunday afternoon. Simon had been sitting on the bench, preparing to bat for Lafferton Police's cricket team against Batham Central Hospital in the county championship. They were leading 228-5, with Wail from the medical staff bowling, and Simon assumed his team would declare before his turn came. He wasn't sure how much it mattered either way. He enjoyed playing, though he was only an average cricketer at best. But on such a glorious day, in such a beautiful setting, he felt content regardless of whether or not he got to swing the bat. Swifts wheeled and screamed high above while swallows darted low along the stands. For weeks now, Simon had felt weighed down by a vague unease, a persistent hum of worry without clear cause. And when real reasons finally surfaced, they only made things worse. But today, surrounded by colleagues, basking in the joy of a good game, and looking forward to lunch with his sister and her kids afterward, he felt lighter than he had in months. He thought back to something his nephew Sam had said the other day when they went swimming together. Midway through their session, Sam had stopped abruptly, climbed out of the pool, and shouted, "Today's a great day!" Simon smiled at the memory. How simple happiness could be for some people. Sure is. But the cheer was directed into empty air. No one was close enough to hear him as he jogged toward the boundary line. "Uncle Simon, hey!" Sam was running toward the bench holding Simon's phone. Earlier, Simon had asked him to keep an eye on it while he prepared to bat. "There's a call. It's Superintendent Chapman from North Yorkshire CID.
Sam frowned, suddenly self-conscious. I figured I should check who it was first.
No, you did exactly right. Good job, Sam. Simon stood and stepped around the corner of the pavilion.
Jim Chapman.
New recruit?
My nephew. I'm getting ready to bat. We're up next. Wow, sorry to ruin your Sunday. Can you make it here sometime in the next few days? Missing child case. 3 weeks gone, no leads.
I can leave tomorrow evening and give you Tuesday and Wednesday if needed. Just need to sort logistics.
I've already handled that. Your boss speaks highly of you.
Cheers erupted from the crowd as applause thundered across the field.
It's our turn, sir. Gotta go.
Sam waited nearby, crouched in position like a loyal hound, extending his hand immediately to take the phone back.
What should I do if it rings while you're batting?
Answer. Tell them I'll call back.
Got it, boss.
Simon bent to adjust the strap on his leg pads, hiding a grin. But as he walked onto the pitch, thin clouds of concern began gathering overhead, dimming the bright sunlight and tainting his earlier joy. Child abduction cases always haunted him, spreading dark stains across the recesses of his mind. The problem wasn't just that the case remained unsolved, it was knowing the perpetrator could strike again any time, unchecked. No one liked unresolved cases, especially not ones this harrowing. Jim Chapman's call brought Simon's thoughts rushing back to the Angus case, to policing, to his career, and to the doubts about his work that had plagued him these past few months. Why? A clever delivery from the cardiologist bowler gave Simon a brief reprieve from his thoughts. He took the first ball and ran. The whinny of a horse woke Kate Derban from a restless sleep that had lasted barely 2 hours. She lay curled awkwardly, momentarily disoriented about where she was. Last night she'd been called out to treat an elderly patient who'd fallen down the stairs and fractured his hip. When she returned home, slamming the door hard enough to wake her youngest, Felix had been hungry, thirsty, and cranky. Exhausted, Kate ended up dozing off beside his crib. She rose clumsily but didn't disturb his small, warm body. Sunlight filtered through a gap in the curtains, illuminating his peaceful face. It was barely 6:10 a.m. A gray pony grazed near the fence, nickering softly when it saw Kate approach with a carrot.
How could I ever leave all this? She wondered aloud. How could any of us bear to part with this house, these fields, this village?
The air carried the sweetness of dew, and mist settled gently over the meadow. A green woodpecker drummed on one of the distant oaks lining the pasture fence. Her husband, Chris, labored tirelessly despite growing resentment toward his general practice workload. Administrative duties infuriated him, drowning him in paperwork, audits, and reports. Last month, he'd mentioned moving to Australia for 5 years, which might as well have meant forever given how Kate interpreted his vague timelines as attempts to soften the blow. She'd visited once to see their Triplet Ivo and hated every moment. Wiping her hands, dampened by the horse's saliva, on her nightgown, Kate watched the satisfied animal amble to the far end of the paddock. Their lives here were full. They lived close to Lafferton, to family, to Simon, and to the cathedral that meant so much to her. Their children loved their school, their friends lived nearby, and the working farm across the road provided endless fascination for the kids.
No, she thought, feeling the sun warm her back.
From the house came Felix's wail. But Sam would go to him, not Hannah, who preferred her ponies and grew jealous of the baby within his first year of life. Kate strolled slowly along the paddock fence, knowing she'd feel utterly drained by day's end, but grateful nonetheless for having been called out last night. Comforting patients during their most vulnerable moments, especially frail elders, was the greatest reward of her work. She had no intention of handing over night shifts to some agency, despite ongoing debates with Chris. They'd argued too many times over this issue, so lately, they avoided the topic altogether.
As she passed beneath the gnarled apple tree, its branches wrapped in a cascade of white bridal roses, their fragrance wafted toward her.
No, she thought again, too much pain had unfolded over the past couple of years. The fear, the unbearable tension. No, she thought again, too much pain had unfolded over the past couple of years. The fear, the unbearable tension.
Too much pain had unfolded over the past couple of years. The fear, the unbearable tension.
But now, aside from her usual worries about Simon, everything seemed okay. Everything except Chris's perpetual dissatisfaction. His exhaustion, and his desire to uproot their lives and move away, spoiling what they had built.
Mom, phone!
Kate hurried inside.